This is 9 News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Edward Godfrey. You're watching Adelaide's 9 News at 5, coming to you live from a deserted Rundle Mall as our statewide lockdown begins. South Australians are spending their first day at home getting used to the harshest restrictions seen in this country during the pandemic. Let's go live to Mike Lorigan. Mike, how have South Australians responded?
Well, Edward, the manic scenes that we all saw across Adelaide yesterday afternoon are gone. And here in Adelaide, we have woken to a ghost town. This is day one of a 6-day circuit breaker lockdown. This is the strictest and swiftest lockdown in Australia. And there's hope to be 8 days beyond that where restrictions will start to ease. Police already, if you're having a look at this, have started the crackdown. They have started moving people along. They are now doing things that are now banned, and that is essentially because everyone has been ordered inside. Only one person per household per day is allowed out to go and buy essential items. Masks are now compulsory. They will be giving people a grace period or some warnings before, but it is mandatory to now wear a mask outside, and it is much easier for me to tell you what is open rather than what is closed. Supermarkets, pharmacies and petrol stations are essentially the only types of businesses that are allowed to continue to trade. There has been some good news today here in South Australia. Authorities have said that there are 0 new cases, but we're not out of the woods. There are 17 suspected cases that are being treated as positives, and there are now 22 cases in this Parafield cluster. Now, there is though specifically a lot of concern around the hotspots in the city, particularly the one at the Woodville pizza shop. There are more than 3,000 people that have been ordered into quarantine, and there are fears that there are thousands more that have been exposed to COVID-19. Here's what our leaders had to say a little earlier.
It's giving us time to put a double ring fence of not just the close contacts, but the contacts of the close contacts of our cases into quarantine for 14 days. And because of this, we have the potential to stop this going any further.
We don't want to see people manipulating the rules to suit themselves. This is for a very short period of time, and I'm just appealing to people to do the right thing.
I think we all want Christmas. We want Christmas to be as normal as possible, celebrating with our family and friends. We've got a great shot at this. We've made a great start. We need every single South Australian to continue to play their part.
Now, authorities are already looking at the way out of this, and they have flagged that outdoor exercise, the restrictions on that, could be some of the first that are lifted. Edward?
Lots looking forward to that. Thank you for those details, Mike Lorigan. The Police Commissioner has strongly defended the state's Medi Hotel system and workers there having other jobs. Tom Angley has been following the issue. Tom, it was a fiery press conference today.
It sure was, Edward. Grant Stevens firing up when questioned why Medi Hotel workers can have other jobs and whether that's appropriate. The criticism follows an outbreak at the Peppers Hotel. A security guard there at the Medi Hotel also working part-time at a Woodville pizza bar while infected, spreading the virus to a delivery driver and another Medi Hotel worker. Now, our top cop, Grant Stevens, firing up at certain members of the media today, saying it's unreasonable for Medi Hotel workers to isolate themselves out of hours and there will always be a COVID risk.
Your expectation is unreasonable. These people are part of our community and we require them to do a really important job. Does it make any difference if a person who works in a Medi Hotel has a second job or goes to a gym, sits in a cinema, participates in sport?
Today, the Victorian government announced major reforms on how it handles security at its own Medi Hotels. And Edward, I'll have those full details at 6.
Okay, thank you, Tom Angley. And we want to know what you think. Do you have confidence in the Medi Hotel system given what's happened? To cast your vote, go to the 9 News Adelaide Facebook page and we'll have the results for you in the news at 6. Victoria will close the border to South Australia from midnight, with truck drivers and border communities among those impacted most by the closure. Maggie Rayworth is in Serviceton on the Victorian side of the border. Maggie, what's the mood like there?
Well, Edward, right now people are frantically trying to cross in Victoria. That's because as of midnight tonight, South Australians will be locked out. Yesterday, our Premier Daniel Andrews warned only those who urgently need to cross into Victoria should do so. Today, he's closed the borders altogether. Now, exempt from that rule is truck drivers and those carrying essential freight. About 45 minutes from here at Nil, that's where a large-scale testing site is right now being set up. That's where truck drivers can get their temperatures taken. They can also opt to get a COVID-19 test. It doesn't mean they have to isolate though. They can go about their journey while waiting for their results to come back, and I'm told that those results will be fast-tracked. Now today, our Premier Daniel Andrews is saying he must take drastic actions to protect the health of Victorians, even if it makes him unpopular. Here's the Transport Workers Union.
Our truck drivers will just about do anything that's required to keep the country running. And if this is going to be a requirement that they do have to take the test, that's okay.
Now, there are other reasons people can be granted an exemption, like medical reasons and emergencies. But ultimately, Edward, those who need to deliver their essential freight can definitely do so.
Okay, thanks for those details, Maggie Rayworth. COVID testing capabilities are being bolstered right across the state, with hours further extended and new clinics set to open. Oliver Hagers at Elizabeth. Oliver, it follows a record number of tests in recent days.
It does, Edward, and people have been showing up in their droves to testing clinics right across South Australia, and authorities are praising people for it. In the last 2 days, more than 20,000 tests have been taken across the state, more than half of them yesterday, with a staggering 11,900 people getting swabbed. Now, with hours being extended and greater capacity at sites, the queues were much shorter today. Here at Elizabeth, there isn't much of a queue at the moment. People are getting through fairly quickly, but thousands of people have been showing up to testing sites right across our north, as well as other sites across the suburbs. People very pleased to see those shorter queues.
Not too long. Only been about 2 hours and I've been tested. But everyone's been keeping their distance, which has been good.
This is just simply outstanding, and I thank and congratulate every person who's gone forward for one of those tests.
Now, the site here in Elizabeth will be open until 8 o'clock tonight. The Lowell McEwen Hospital Clinic will be open until midnight, while the Victoria Park Clinic will be open all night. That is now a 24-hour clinic until the weekend. Now, Edward, people are being reminded to only show up to testing clinics if they are showing COVID symptoms or if they have been instructed to by SA Health.
Important advice there. Okay, thanks, Oliver. There's been confusion and anger at the central markets today, with traders forced to shut up shop shortly after opening. But suburban supermarkets have been much calmer today after scenes of utter chaos yesterday. Georgia Westgarth explains.
While South Australians were out in droves yesterday on day one of lockdown, some supermarkets have still been busy, but others have been very quiet. These aisles orderly and calm. While there still are gaps on our supermarket shelves, there's not crowds.
No panic buyers today. It's a lot more easier to get in and out as we should.
The shelves were stocked where last night there was nothing there.
It's a huge contrast to the scenes of utter chaos yesterday afternoon.
I think this is quite civilised and Adelaide showing how good it can be.
But there has been confusion. Adelaide Central Market opening this morning, traders believing food markets were considered an essential service, but not long after opening they were forced to shut. Customers turned away.
It's very confusing because I actually checked on the website, rang them yesterday, they said, yeah, we're going to be open.
We were expecting the tray and then we bought a lot of fresh produce and yeah. We don't know what's going on here. So.
Meanwhile, the morning ritual, grabbing a cup of coffee on the way to work, saw a police response. On the run petrol stations selling takeaway coffee quickly brought to a stop. And among the confusion is anger. The Independent Retailers Union livid the government didn't consult them about extending shop trading hours.
We need time to clean our stores, we need time to sanitise, our staff need to be rested. And to give us this shorter notice is totally arrogant, and it's blatantly disregarding small mum and dad small businesses across South Australia.
The exemption allows supermarkets, pharmacies and other essential stores across suburban Adelaide to open for longer, with an option of 24-hour weekday trade. Woolworths and Coles is taking advantage of it, but the Workers' Union says it's unfair.
These additional hours are unnecessary and quite frankly not helpful for retail workers who are already putting up with madness over the last 24 hours.
During lockdown, one person per household can leave their home once a day to shop for groceries.
South Australian businesses are already being hit hard by the new lockdown rules. Bryce Heaton joins me now. Bryce, they're set to lose millions of dollars.
It's a disastrous blow in the short term, Edward, a result of the nation's toughest lockdown rules. Thousands of staff have already been laid off temporarily, with casual staff among the worst affected. It's even harsher than the last lockdown, with businesses unable to serve takeaway, meaning cafes have also been forced to close. Many businesses had to shut so quickly they were unable to sell perishables, meaning some may have more than just a financial mess to come back to. Phones have been running hot in hotels where we've seen thousands of bookings cancelled or postponed, a particularly bitter pill to swallow for regional businesses where there have been no cases of COVID-19 in this latest outbreak. It's come at just about the worst possible time of year, with summer just around the corner, usually the busiest period for many businesses.
Definitely when we went from, really looking forward to a big push for the next couple of months to 2 days later closed, and then obviously the full state lockdown at the moment. It's not great for a family-run, independent-owned business.
We've got stock which was all delivered, which is just gone to waste. I don't know what staff to roster on. I don't know what will happen after.
The general consensus from business owners I've spoken to is that they're happy to accept the lockdown, but it's going to make the coming months very difficult. Edward?
Okay, thanks for those details, Bryce Heaton. The state's strict lockdown measures have forced couples all over Adelaide to cancel weddings at a moment's notice. But some decided to make a last-minute dash, scrambling to be married with guests watching on before midnight. Newlyweds Andrew and Amanda Massner organising a snap ceremony at Lobethal, pulling the entire thing off in just 4 hours.
It didn't actually really feel rushed.
It didn't.
At the time, considering we pulled it together in 4 hours. Just felt like a really easygoing ceremony, and yeah, we were really happy with it.
Yeah.
Obviously upset that our extended family and friends couldn't be there, but we're married now and we'll party with them at the reception, which will be later.
Yeah, the emotion was still there. My dad still walked me down, and it was pretty special.
Yeah.
Weddings, as well as funerals, church services and elective surgeries have all been cancelled during the lockdown, and we'll have more on the impact on everyday lives tonight in the news at 6. Well, time now to look at the weather in Adelaide. Right now it's 24.3 degrees, but it feels like 20 due to that cool breeze. Our minimum today was 23.5, hitting that at 8:43 last night. We hit our maximum temperature of 35.4 just after 1 this afternoon, and we'll have all of the latest weather details for you later in the bulletin. Next in the news at 5, accused of despicable crimes, that disturbing report accusing Australian soldiers of murder in Afghanistan, and the accidental find over the south coast of Tassie.